In this video, you learn my 3 keys to consistent hitting. And you learn the story that got me on the journey to wanting to be a consistent hitter.
Near the bullpen and that ball is gone.
So sit back and relax, because I believe you will learn something from this episode.
Win at the wall! 3 home runs in the game for Jeff Bagwell.
So when I was younger, we were playing in a game and we were losing by a lot. I mean, a lot. But we started to come back. In the last inning, things were going well. I think we scored about 5 or 6 runs.
3-run home run.
Finally, it was my turn to bat. There were runners on first and second with 1 out. My heart was pumping out of my chest and my adrenaline was at an all-time high. My team at this point is yelling, "Let's go! Drive him in! Get the next guy up!" I start walking to the plate and then something happened. I heard that little guy in my head say, "Don't mess this up." You can already tell how this story's gonna go. I walk up to the batter's box, I take a deep breath, and then I get a good pitch to hit, but I rolled it over. I hit into a 6-4-3 double play to end the game. As I'm walking back to the dugout, my teammate, who was always a crap talker, said, "Way to go, rally killer." When he said that, it stung. I felt a sharp pain in my stomach, and to be completely honest with you, I was really embarrassed. But it was at this point where I knew I wanted to be a consistent hitter. And I wanted to shove my new success in my teammates' face. I wanted to be that man instead of feeling useless. I also wanted to be a consistent hitter because I wanted to give myself the best chance of getting a scholarship to play in college. But I had a few struggles. The external struggle I was having was that I was a very inconsistent hitter. I would have days where I was on, but most days I wasn't. And you know, that's just not going to cut it, especially if you want to separate yourself. The internal struggle I was having was that since I was hitting so inconsistent, I felt like a failure. I honestly felt like I couldn't reach the goal. So now I'm at a batting cage hitting, and in between rounds, it hit me. I should study the players in the big leagues who are consistent hitters, and that's what I did. I went home and started recording players such as Tony Gwynn,
Best at the plate, Gwynn delivers.
Jeff Bagwell,
Bagwell hammers the first pitch.
and Ken Griffey Jr.
Good ball. Goodbye. Going.
I would record them on VHS, and then I would rewatch their at-bats and stop the video upon contact. The reason why I stopped the video upon contact was that I wanted to see where their point of contact was, so I could set up the tee up in my backyard and mimic their point of contact. At the same time, I still was playing games, and I was still getting carved up. I was barely making any progress. It got so bad I thought about quitting, but I was in too deep. I couldn't give in, and I'm glad I didn't, because as I was walking to the plate, I did something a little different. I said to myself, what would Tony Gwynn do? I referenced Tony Gwynn because he was known to be a consistent hitter. He could probably flip the bat around and hit with the knob and still hit 300. When I said, what would Tony Gwynn do? The answer immediately popped into my
Best
head.
at the plate, Gwynn delivers.
I said to myself, he would walk with his head high to the plate. He would look for a pitch that he could drive to the opposite field, and he would be telling himself that he was better than the pitcher. So I finally got in the box, I took a deep breath, and got a pitch that I could drive into right center. As I ran to first base, it felt like it had clicked. I ended up hitting 350 for the season. The next season I did even better, and then after my high school season, I continued my baseball career by getting a scholarship and playing baseball at UCLA. What's even better is my teammates stopped talking crap to me and started asking me for advice during that season. I felt like I was the man on that field. Okay, so what are 3 actionable takeaways from this story that will give you consistent results? The first thing, you need to understand that every good productive hitter has a plan. Before you step in the batter's box, you should have a plan of attack. And you can get this plan by being a student of the game. What I mean by saying student of the game is that watching the game with intention of learning. See, most players sit in the dugout and they just completely turn off. They use the dugout like a resting period before going back on the field for defense. This is a great time for you to study the pitcher. Ask yourself a few questions. What is his plan of attack? You can learn this by watching where the catcher sets up when the pitcher faces different players on your team. Another question is, what's his best pitch, or in other words, strikeout pitch? What pitches does he throw with runners in scoring position? If you ask the right questions, you will get the right answer. Then you can create your plan. Let's say, for example, runner is in scoring position and you're up to hit. But since you were watching the pitcher and being a student of the game, you notice that he throws curveballs early in the count when the player gets on second or in scoring position. Now you have a plan of attack. You can now look for that pitch because you know he will throw it. And if you don't know what the pitcher throws, look back to where you had one of your best games and ask yourself, where did you hit those pitches? What were the locations of those pitches? Then you can use that location as your plan of attack. See, the reason for having a plan is that you will force the pitcher to throw in your zone. This means you will control the zone and get better pitches to hit. And if you get better pitches to hit, you will be more consistent. Pro tip, your job is to create your plan when you are in the dugout. And then when you get on deck, you get the pitcher's timing. Here's what you need to understand. Different pitchers will have different timing. So you can't have the same timing with the pitcher that throws 70 miles per hour and the pitcher that throws 90 miles per hour. That makes sense, doesn't it? You're going to have to make adjustments, and that starts on deck. The second takeaway is hit the ball to the opposite field gap. I don't like saying opposite field because then some hitters start pushing the ball to the opposit field. You want to drive the ball to the opposite field gap. But when you hit the ball to the opposite field gap, you allow the ball to travel, or in other words, you are letting the ball get deep. The benefit to allowing the ball travel more is that you can make better decisions. For example, let's say a pitcher has a good slider. He throws you that slider and it looks like a fastball, and as you're starting to swing, you notice it's sliding away from you. Since you are seeing the ball deeper, you can stop your swing. See, the higher you go up, what makes players successful are the pitches that they do not swing yet. By allowing the ball to get deeper, you will not get fooled. This means you will be in more hitters counts and the game will be much easier and fun. The last takeaway is confidence. The way you walk up to the plate and the way you think will drastically improve your ability to be a productive hitter and consistent hitter. Let's take, for example, player A and player B. Player A walks up doubting himself. His head is looking at the ground and he is slouched over. And player B walks with his head high like he is on a mission, says to himself he is the man and he is going to crush this pitcher. Which player do you think will have a better chance of getting ahead? I want you to comment below the answer. Don't be that person who watches the video and don't comment. Please take the time to comment below. I'm going to give you a few seconds. As many of you have probably guessed, player B will have a better chance. The reason is because he has no pressure on himself and isn't holding himself back. If you want to be a consistent hitter, you need to kill the old you. The consistent hitter believes he can do it. Even if he gets out, he knows that he would get him the next time. He has abundance of confidence and he has a presence. He knows he is the man. Okay, so just to recap, if you want to get consistent results, create a plan before going to the plate. Let the ball get deeper and walk with confidence to that plate. The reason you want to create a plan is that you will be more selective with the pitchers you will hit. This means that you will force the pitcher to throw it where you want it, and that will produce more base hits, doubles, and consistent results. You also want to let the ball get deeper because this will allow you to let the ball travel. And when you let the ball travel, you will make better decisions, which will allow you to control the zone. And when you control the zone, you get more mistakes to hit and you get more production and consistent results. This means you are not going to be fooled on off-speed pitches and you will be in more hitters counts so you can be the consistent machine you are meant to be. Lastly, you want to walk with confidence so that you can give yourself the best chance of getting the results you desire. This means you have a presence out in that field and college coaches and scouts notice you. Okay, that sums up my 3 keys to being a consistent hitter. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it over to you. Answer one of these questions below. So what tip did you like most from this video? Or what is the #1 problem you are having right now in baseball? Comment below. Thank you for your time. I'm former MLB player Jermaine Curtis, and I am fighting for the person who wants to improve their baseball performance so they can reach their dreams. And I'm fighting against lazy baseball players. If you are a player, coach, parent that's looking to improve, smash that like button, subscribe to the Pros Cave channel, and turn on the bell notifications. Again, thank you for your time. I'm signing out.